How you doing? I'm here with Ned. And the first question, of course, that I want to ask him is how are you feeling right now? You guys didn't lose one match. You are 5-0 right now going into playoffs. How does that feel?
Feels great, honestly. I'm glad that the team has leveled up as we progress throughout this tournament. Coming into the start, we were not meeting our standards at all, and we were playing really shaky and letting rounds that we never really do slip, and that still applies, but it's at a better percentage now, and it's also been unfortunate just because pretty much all of us have food poisoning, so hopefully when playoffs come, we'll be healthy and rejuvenated.
Did you guys thought that you were going to be 5-0 in playoffs?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so the second question that I want to ask you, what was missing in that Lotus for you guys finally get that win?
I would say that I just think we got caught off guard by the proactivity of the Neon and just how fast they were peeking things just because we didn't have much experience of it, but as the map progressed, we knew what they could and could not do, so we just got adjusted to it.
Right, the last question that I have for you is how have you seen the evolution of the team and personally in this tournament in playoffs?
I would say that everyone slowly, game by game, were evolving and increasing our level of play. Like I said, at the beginning of the tournament, we were playing nowhere near our standards. And honestly, I would say we're not even close to how good we can be. So I'm just looking forward to showing an even better face in playoffs and just dominating.
Thank you, Ned, very much. Guys, we still have one match, so just stay here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
They say in life, there are no guarantees. They say a lot of stuff like that. Slow it down. Play it safe. Hedge your bets. So what? You gonna listen to that? You gonna stop because they can't guarantee you'll pull this off? No guarantee you'll win? No guarantee everything's gonna be fine? In life, you make your own guarantees. Nobody else will light your way. Start your own fire and keep it burning. And we guarantee you'll have one hell of a lifetime.
la verdad hoy fue, yo creo que fue nuestro primer pésimo día de todo el campeonato. Entonces yo creo que la calma nos sigue matando. O que estamos como fuera de lo que hacemos siempre. Y eso hace que perdemos. La verdad son bastante buenos. Tienen un Vine excelente. Y la verdad es que nosotros como equipo sabemos que si estamos nosotros en un mood así perfecto, le podemos ganar a cualquier equipo. Pero eso es que es nuestra yeyita. Tenemos que fixarlo. Que seguimos siendo Alnights, los underdogs. Así que estén ahí atentos.
In all honesty, I just think we're falling short when it matters the most right now. We're not playing like a team. We're letting our like mental boom in the middle of matches, and we're just not closing out rounds that we should be closing out. I mean, it's the way we felt going into every match. We can beat all these guys, and we've been so close to beating nearly all of them, you know. I mean, All Knights are a good team, but again, if we show up tomorrow, we beat them. We're the better team when we show up, and we have not been playing well this whole tournament. I mean, I think he's a great player. Anybody who makes it to Ascension, you know, they're all great players. On every single team, we've only been playing great players, and I have a lot of experience. And I think when it gets down to the nitty gritty, I play very well, and especially the hectic environments.
Well, it's time we move into the second, or rather third match of today. And as we mentioned towards the beginning, this is a little chaotic to figure out what team is going to make it, what team is going to be out 100%. So first of all, let's break it down. Let's keep it easy, or as easy as we can, because it's still not easy for us. So we're going to break it down this way. Whoever wins this match between TSM and All Knights, they're 100% in playoff. Who else is in already? MAD is in, and Galores is in. And now, let's dive into who's going to be the last one. So if All Knights loses, 0-2 is going to be 2-game making it. If All Knights loses 1-2, is going to be a round of ratio between them and 2-game. And if All Knights wins, 2-game also make it. I hope you guys were writing that down, Roy, because it's crazy. But now you know what your favorite team needs to make it here.
Yeah, I think literally the TLDR and most important fact is whoever wins this match guarantees their spot. Everything else will get resolved by the experts, by people who can do math. We're not supposed to be doing math, guys. Let's not even try to, okay? So let's actually start the conversation about what this series is, right? Because these teams have struggled. Both of them have kind of had their struggles throughout this tournament. Obviously, TSM has the lowest record right now, so they're looking to challenge this map onto the team of All Knights, who, yes, they've had some low points, but they've also had some really high points. They've shown us that they're capable of being that force in the server, that sort of very oppressive team that can support Dante and the level of success that he's had throughout this tournament.
This All Knights team has turned into people's favorites because they've been doing so fun, and we all love an aggressive team that is going in, that is getting insane frags like Dante has been getting, the A's that we saw the other day from Adverso, and all those individual pieces being able to connect and work together for what is at stake and is making it to the playoffs of Ascension. So it's a pretty big deal. They've gotten fans, but the question is, can they make it now to playoffs when the future is all up to them?
Well, I'm turning into an All Knights fan. I think that Dante is really fun to watch. He just kind of glows and radiates with confidence when he's going in with his neon. And another player from All Knights is Adverso. This is a player who is number 2 ranking in KDA on Sova 1.8, and also has been pretty consistent throughout the whole group series. Although the percentage for clutches is 33%, I have seen Adverso's clutches, and those are important ones. It's not just the random ones where the rounds don't really matter. He shines and has confidence when the rounds really count. So that's when Adverso shines and pulls through.
I just find it funny that he has a 33.3% clutch rate, but he's still number 17 in the rankings. That can't be true. Either that or that we have the best closers in the world. That is awesome. That is such a cool statistic. But jokes aside, Adverso has been not only the IGL and leader of the team, but he's also been a very impactful player, bringing that experience to this young squad who has been an absolute force in the server.
Adverso has been really good, and we've seen him very similar to Nismo, as we got to just hear about recently, kind of stepping it up as the matches go by. Both of them having a similar feeling of, well, at the beginning of the tournament, I couldn't really find myself when it came to the kills department, and now as we get to see them play more and more, we see them shutting people down and shutting these young players down as well, because we have a lot of those promises for all of the regions here in Americas, and they've been able to handle those situations very well. That's what we expect from really experienced players, and that's what we can expect from Adverso, Roy.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. This is where we said it many times. This is where experience matters the most. When the pressure is the highest, you're going to look to this leader. You're going to look to their emotions. You're going to look to see the kind of environment and culture that they're putting forth. It all leads to this moment. What kind of plant have they planted, right? Is it calm? Is it peace? Is it stressful? Is it chaotic, right? This is the fruit of their labor. It's about to be right here, right now. It is the do or die. If there's been a moment to step up, it is right now.
And let's talk about the other side too, because the moment for them is also right now. TSM, they haven't had the best group stage, let's be honest, Emily. They've been struggling. They've been having some great moments, maps, but when it came to closing it out and when it came to being that dominant team, they haven't been able to get to that point just yet.
Yeah, you're right. Listening to Proto in the interview before we got started right now, you could just tell his disappointment, and he was right, where they lost a lot of situations where they probably shouldn't have. But the funny thing is a lot of the maps were so close and went into OT, and it was looking like it was gonna go their way, but it just couldn't get closed out, and they had a pretty devastating loss, I feel like, versus M80 yesterday. You could tell that they really wanted that win to prove themselves for North America, and they just couldn't close it out. They did take it the whole way through, though, and to remind everyone of their journey to even get here in Ascension, they went to the lower bracket super early on, and then they were the lower bracket warriors. They took everybody home that they faced. A lot of people even doubted that, and so once they got to the grand final, the one team that beat them was M80, and so that's kind of a devastating loss for them, but like we said, this win is what matters. You got to put all of that stuff aside.
And one of the players that has been able to step it up for a lot of these maps and be the difference maker, Roy, has been Seven. Especially, I like that we get to see the Gecko right next to him, because that's what AJ and I associate him with. Every time we see the Seven on the Gecko, I think specifically of Bind, but I think of a lot of other maps where he's been able to have that impact and to allow the team to close it out and to find those solutions when it seems like there are none.
Yeah, I mean, and the lore of Seven is the fact that he only just picked up the Info Initiator role this year. So the fact that he is at this level, he's able to compete against the best players in a role that he's been pretty much taken on for the last 9 months is insane to me. Not only is he playing the role well in terms of utility and setting up his teammates, but he's also finding enough room to have individual success within this team of very strong players individually.
It's fun to see Seven play out a lot of these rounds, because it's just one of those that goes a little bit unnoticed until you see him closing them out, finding the solutions, and even being that support for the team, Emily. That is so important. We got to see a sneak peek. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I was taking a look-see at that. And another thing from Seven, just really quickly, I enjoy watching his Gecko. I think that that's a fun one to watch, the way that he utilizes Thrasher. There was a really funny round, if you guys remember, from the other day, where he had the Thrasher waiting behind a wall and then crept out and detained 2 people. So thinking outside of the box like that is really fun.
Finding answers, once again, when it seems like it's hard to do so for this team that struggles a lot and honestly has struggled throughout this Ascension. So we're seeing if they're going to be able to find the answer today. But one head-to-head that I'm very excited about, and I know we always talk about the duelists, but we just have such amazing duelists in this tournament, is Dante Deos going against Sim. It seems to me, Roy, like they're very different in the way that they play out. They sometimes go for this slightly different compositions, different ideas on the duelist role, especially because we've seen Sim on the Reyna on Icebox. Dante, we think of Dante, and now we're thinking Neon, going aggressive. So a little bit different between the two, and I'm excited to see them going against each other today.
Yeah, there are some differences, but there's also a lot of similarities, specifically to the fact that the structure is built around setting them up, getting them to take fights that are really well, people that are flash, people that are stunned, people that have to deal with so much info util coming at you, right? And that's part of the reason why Sim is leading the charge in first bloods. He's also pretty much tied for first place for multi kills, and that goes to show that he is very strong individually, but there is a structure around them. And Dante as well, he's pretty much the highest in ult kills, he's the highest in kills per round, he's pretty much leading in many different categories. So both of these duelists have their own strengths and weaknesses, but it's also built around the team structure that they have that's allowing this to happen.
And it also depends on what maps they're playing, because we see some level of comfort depending on what duelists they're going to be playing. We've talked about Dante Deus on the race, for example, which we haven't seen it in a long time. We got to see it on Vine just 2 days ago, and now we have the possibility to see if these two duelists are put into uncomfortable situations and how they're going to be solving them. But let's jump into the Zippo map select. Oh, now we even get the reactions from the coaches, from the players.
Boy, I love this.
I love to see this, Emily.
Yeah, me too. And like you said, it really comes down to what map it's going to be on, because we also didn't see too much of an op from Dante. And Dante tried it yesterday and it didn't really work too well for him. And All Knights is going to select Haven. Okay, good, because this is where Dante shines, on that neon. Like we were seeing the other day, if they're running out of util, Dante is the util. He's the one that's going in there, flying around, and making your crosshair placement all messed up.
In this map of Abyss, every time I see Abyss by anybody, I'm just a little bit stressed out with the way that it plays out. Sometimes it kind of goes out of your hands, and it depends so much on what the other team is doing, how you're able to adapt to it. We've seen some slight differences in compositions, Roy, but I think this is a good second map to see what the two teams have prepared for it.
Yeah, I think Abyss will be super interesting because the difference in compositions, right? TSM is running the double duelists on that map with double controllers as well, so they're actually opting out of the Sentinel, which is kind of interesting. And on the other hand, it's a bit more of a tame composition for the LATAM side. So I think there's a bit of a conflict in the approach and in the kind of interpretation of the meta on that map. But I mean, talking about the first map, Haven, that has been a pretty good map for both of these teams. Yeah, they have not won it every single time, but they've shown that they're versatile and they're quite versed on that map.
And I already see the vision of us heading into Sunset for the third map. I actually do see it happening for this series. We've seen so many amazing sunsets, and I mean, we already talked about what Amadi has been playing on this map. They're playing this map non-stop, but everybody else has been playing against them, has been playing against each other on that sunset, and it makes a lot of sense for this TSM and All Knights match to go the distance. If they win, whether it's going to be All Knights winning here or whether it's going to be TSM winning here, they're guaranteed their playoff spot. So the stakes are on, and you have the pressure to make sure you're able to make it far, Roy. It's not going to be easy, though. None of the teams are going to make it easy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to point out the fact that, yeah, the second map as well, there is a conflict of comps, but in the first map, Haven, it's a mirror comp. This is literally going to come down to which team is going to play it better. There's really no excuses. There's no, oh, their composition did this and we were uncomfortable. Like, no, they're running the same comp. And that's going to make it a pretty fun dynamic to watch.
The mental games, that's when we get to see the IGLs shine the most, and we already highlighted the IGLs for both of the teams in the way that they're trying to constantly read each other's minds. I feel like Adverso sometimes, and we mentioned it on the regional matchup against Reta, he was getting a little too much into his head, trying to get to ahead when you just need to think about just the couple seconds of what is going to happen after and how you're going to play those rounds out. But it seems like today, Emily, it can be a lot of overthinking too, because they know what's at stake, they have the pressure, and they know that the future is in their hands.
Yeah, you're right. This is probably one of the highest pressured matches that they'll be playing for a long time, and there's so much on the line. As an in-game leader, it's a very difficult role to take on that not a lot of people can do. You have a lot of pressure on your shoulders. If something doesn't work out, it's your fault at the end of the day. Did you make the wrong call? Did you not guide your team in the right way? But that's why I like to say, yes, the in-game leader has a lot of impact, but a strong team is when everybody's vocal, when everybody's doing their job, because that's what takes the win that we've seen from so many impressive teams in the past. So who's gonna show up today? How are they feeling? I guess we'll find out, because that sunset map for the last one is worrying me that it's gonna go the whole way, because that's what we've been seeing so far in groups.
Oh, it will go. It will go all the way, I'm sure. I actually have no doubts just with how intense this match is. Not only for them, but for the teams outside that they already played their matches today, and they're kind of waiting, hey, can you not get enough rounds, or can you actually win for us? That is the mentality of a team like 2Game. They're depending on the results that we're going to be seeing right now. And as a reminder for everybody, there is a giveaway from Blacklight. You can get one of those Ultimate Gaming chairs if you scan that QR code, or you check that message that's pinned in the chat to see how you can get one of those as we head into the last match of the group stage. Roy, can I ask you for your predictions? Not so much of, who's gonna win, but how is this all gonna play out? Is it gonna be overtimes? Is it gonna be, you can tell the dominance on the map picks?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be one of those where it's like every map is over 20 rounds. I have a really strong feeling that's gonna be the case. But there is one thing that's sort of like looming on my mind. There is one thing that I've been kind of considering, and it's the fact that in the last match for All Nights, they kind of look like they froze up a little bit on the mid-rounding and on the IGLing, and even in the kind of the interview video where they talked about, getting stuck and kind of running out of flow, that's not something that they can afford to have this time around. And hopefully they've kind of discussed it and they've sort of set the tone and set the mood within the team, but that's not something that can happen today. There's no more rooms for mistake. They need to tighten up, they need to be confident, and they need to be decisive.
All Nights, what they described there was a feeling of maybe being too chill, but not in a good way. Not in a, oh, we know how to handle pressure well, but in a, okay, we need to adapt. Can we do it in time? And it seems like when there's no solution, things get stuck and they can't find a way to answer those questions and find the success in those maps. So that is something that they're going to be needing to work on. And it couldn't be more stressful, right? You're trying to solve all these issues as you're playing potentially your last match of Ascension, Emily.
Yeah, one thing that I want to touch really quickly is what Roy was just saying of the mindset of All Nights going in here. I equally feel the same about TSM, though. I feel like from the interview from a proto, they seem really down. We have two teams in front of us that are just disappointed in their last performance, I think. So yeah, this match not only really matters, but you're going to have to snap out of it and move forward and, just have a good start. So it's going to come down to how many rounds can we get within the momentum, because these are both teams that really shine when they get the momentum going. And like we were saying, mid-rounding was difficult for All Nights the other day, and so that's where it's going to take teamwork from everybody to step up, not rely on one person to have the big brains. It's going to take everyone, because everyone has different information where they're at on the map. You know what I mean? Everybody has a different intel that one person might not have.
And that frustration also comes from the expectations that you have on yourself. You're talking about the frustration that they had on their last match, and it was those regional matches where TSM they were very close. They almost took M80 down. They went to overtime in one of their maps of Sunset. They almost made it happen. And for the set of All Nights, everybody was hyping them up so much. It seems like they were also confident they could take down Reta, and it was not the case. For everybody wondering, it seems like there's some tech issues that we're trying to solve very quickly. So we're going to throw it to a break, and when we come back, we should be ready for the third match of the day.
face.
We're so back, and this time around we'll actually seem to get started with what is going to be this match. And Roy, let's jump right into the Blacklight Agent Select, because we talked about this map of Haven. This is the map pick of All Knights, but we also talked about the other side of TSM. They played this map, they have mirror compositions, and things should remain the same for this series.
Yeah, I mean, TSM has played this map 3 times, but unfortunately they've not had much success on this map, so I can definitely see why All Knights were looking to take it on this map. Obviously, they've lost the first 2 times, 5-13 versus Galoris and Reta, respectively, and then M80 was 9-13. So there definitely have been some improvement on the TSM side, but they have not been able to quite catch their stride going into this match here versus All Knights. But again, this is the finish line. These teams need this series to guarantee their spot in playoffs. Either way, they're going to have to step up. There really is no room for mistakes.
And Emily, when we have these mirror compositions on the first map of Haven, what are your expectations for what the 2 teams are going to be able to do here?
Well, from what we've been seeing is what worked well for All Knights is when they attempted to get an extremity control. So I think that's something that they need to do on their defensive side if they want to have an early start. And to counter that, it's a mirror comp like you just said. So whatever All Knights is thinking of doing, TSM is probably doing the same thing. So I think it's just going to be a battle of who can control the extremity if our util is landing. And also, at the end of the day, our shots need to be hitting.
It's very important for your shots to be hitting on a match like this one. And honestly, this is when it can be the hardest, Roy, because you have so much pressure on. You want to start strong, and you need to make sure that if you're not, then you're able to come back like nothing happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I want to reiterate the fact that last time we saw All Knights play, they looked a little bit more pigeonholed in their playstyle, a lot more rigid. I would like to see a little bit more fluidity from them from the attack side, specifically working establishing A, working back towards garage, making TSM overthink, because TSM is the kind of team that is willing to brawl you on the site. They're willing to brawl into your control, and All Knights is going to need a little bit more mental games if they really want to defeat this kind of all-star team from TSM.
And just a reminder for everybody that is just tuning in, trying to support one of these 2 teams between TSM and All Knights, here's what's stake. Whoever wins here, whether it's going to be TSM taking the win or All Knights taking the win, they make it to playoffs 100%. If TSM loses, they're out. And if All Knights loses, it kind of depends on the way that they lose to see if they're in or out, depending on the map differential and the round differential. But if you want to support TSM, just know that they need to win. And if you want to support All Knights, just know that they would also very much need to win to have the better chances here. And also depend on everybody else. 2 games is kind of in the middle. We're trying to figure out how they're gonna make it in. They're very likely to make it. Reta is out of the tournament, and the 2 teams that are out of the playoffs contention, and the 2 teams that are 100% in are M80 and Galoris. So we're just trying to figure out who the 3rd and 4th spot are gonna be for playoffs. And I love this because it really shows how competitive the group stage has been, and how close all these teams are to each other. Right?
Yeah, and not even just the group stage, just the fact that every region in Valorant is insane at this game. EMEA is a strong region, North America, South America, Brazil, like all these teams are doing so good. APAC, right? Like every single region is so dominant in this game, and they all have their own sort of unique playstyles, and we got to see a lot of that here in this tournament. And of course, once again, All Knights, the LATAM number 2 seed versus TSM, the North American number 2 seed, battling it out here on Haven. And whoever wins will guarantee their spots, as the graphic says. The graphics never lies, people.
Exactly. But I want to know, Roy, what do you think about that huddle? Because I remember what you said the other day about the huddles, and I think that means a lot to this.
Listen, TSM on the first day, they just fist bumped and sat down. Okay, I was not messing with that. I was not vibing with that. Okay, I want to see some huddles. I want to see some synergy. I want to see some fist bumps. I want to see some hugs. I want to see people laughing. I just want to see some vibes. That is the loophole to the psychology, and may the best team win, because they're going to need every edge they can get.
The pressure is on for these 2 teams, All Knights and TSM. They're facing each other for the last match of the group stage, and it's time to find out who's going to start in the best way possible, getting away with the win of Haven. And with that, we're going to find out with your casters is Tenrek and Kek.
Thanks so much, Dryad. A duel to the death is the final match of the group stage here at Ascension Americas. One team will net a spot in playoffs, the other likely to go home. Keg, You and I have done the math a million times in our head, but I'll go ahead and simplify for the class. It is do or die for both of these teams. All Night's the last hope for Latin America, but hopes are looking high walking into this matchup. Meanwhile, TSM, perennial underdog, ready to play into the role at least one final time to try to clinch a spot up there.
Even the most advanced mathematic geniuses out there figuring out how a potential 5-way tie could work really depends on now who can win up this matchup. It is a scary moment to be in for both of these teams, regardless of map or round differentials. All that matters for these two is success. Again, starting off on a map like this to start things off, it's going to be a little rough for TSM's end. Remember, it was yesterday in an interview they said that, to make it this far into a tournament, when the pressure starts to really get at you, all the fundamentals they've worked on for the entirety of this year start to crumble a little bit. Now, I do think that changed a lot from yesterday. The TSM that we did get to see was a completely different beast. But they have to keep that ball rolling. It's very easy to come into a matchup like this cold, and I pray that neither team does that with how aggressive they've shown to be.
Surely after these regional matchups that they went through yesterday, both of which these teams lost, everyone's got to be fired up. Everyone's got to be ready. But like you said, going into Haven, All Night's pick and TSM's weakest map so far this tournament, things are certainly not looking good for the underdog's start. It all comes down to the side they chose first, attack. How many rounds can they net on their stronger side of this map before we see at this point, it needs to be trademarked, AK attack.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind what the desk said too. Extremity control is going to be very important for every attacking round for both teams, but also too the Neon Breach duality. We've seen a lot of rounds that succeed by allowing that breach to enable fast stun control, to have the Neon push in and take a little bit more than they should possibly chew, but still get away with it. On the other hand, small micro plays have tormented every single team thus far this tournament, leading to fatal mistakes. TSM early on taking the slow for a pistol round. A camera set up already outside a lobby. Adverso, player we highlighted, in that first contact has to run away. He's the only one with defensive control on A. But All Night's is there to save the day with a sudden flank. But look at that tripwire. That'll determine everything.
Yeah. Stack into Adverso. What a flick to find a Proto and scurry on back to the rest of the AK stack, who has now turned this fight on its head with one fell swoop. TSM will take that opportunity and run with it first into A site, but then into sewer, but Sabando has the ladder angle covered, and AK can now execute the crunch, and from there, a smattering on A site. TSM can at least get the spike down to farm some creds and keep the following rounds interesting, but from here, it should be an absolute shutdown. GMD good for 2, 7 can at least hold down the site, and the stack will falter, but AK still has a 2v1 on 2 different fronts. Tinshoff is easily found out, but can still win the fight with some HP to spare. All Night's open with the round.
Gotta give it to TSM. The slow push-up and the anglage held outside of A-Long was really convincing to potentially turn this around. Right to get that spike plant into the ground first round. Early money despite the round loss does not mean all is out just yet for this first half. It's still a strong start, and the killing potential that we've seen from GMD still looks fantastic. It got scary there for a second for All Nights. Separated out, taking a wealth of 1vx's. Now we get to see potentially if the ball can keep on rolling for their own end as well. I love this stage, dude. That cyan color is one of my favorite colors ever.
Yeah. I think that the stage has really been set for these players for sure. Everyone down in Monterey did a bang-up job with this setup. And I can't wait to see it showing us the playoff teams. Which one of these is guaranteed to be? And, I mean, how exciting would it be for All Nights, first of all, to bring Latin America to the playoffs, which unfortunately Reta cannot do at this point.
I think we determined that it would take, like, a literal act of God in order to make everything work for Reta. Like, you would have to have... I don't even know what an equation of it would be.
I think at this point they have been classified as the dwarf planet by NASA. They've like the call has been made, you know?
Well, Pluto's gone back and forth, so I guess that's kind of like Reta's situation.
That's true. Yeah, it's depending on how this round differential shakes up. So for
that
those
was the big controversy in second
I guess
grade.
I guess we can talk a little bit about the math now that we're in the TP.
So
All Night's,
you can talk about it.
Currently, their map differential is actually one of the worst in the standings, and so a loss here for All Knights is actually pretty catastrophic for them. If they get 2-0'd, they will literally end up last in the standings, behind Reta. If they get 2-1, it'll come down to round differential, and they're only 3 rounds ahead of 2game in the standings right now. And if they match that -2 map differential that they would if they get to a 2-1, that means that All Knights have a very good chance of ending up as that 5th seed if they lose to TSM, even in that close a fashion. So a win is still very much mandatory for this Latin American squad to make it, which makes it all the more exciting for TSM, who has been stalling and lacking just behind this whole tournament through, and yet they still have this one window, this golden opportunity to not only make it to playoffs, but very likely get the 3rd seed in it.
Yeah, and I think one big issue that a lot of people have been complaining about for TSM so far through their Challengers run and Ascension is how limited feeling their map pool has been.
Yes.
It's been the bind hard ban every single matchup, and going to a first map that they haven't found much success on at all in Ascension is definitely not the best look. But TSM, again, we've seen them from yesterday, a team that can turn things around and do their homework seemingly pretty easily here. They have a good opportunity on an IGL's paradise of a map like Haven. 3 sites to work with and play around. A lot of mid-rounding can drastically alter the course of each and every single one. An early recon ult falls. None of TSM fall for it, but they do have that smoke coming down, so AK are aware about their presence. Cameras down inside of short too. The call's been made to rotate back over. Weapon buy-ups from both sides. TSM still need the 2nd round.
A lot of preliminary clearing here. Not afraid to show where they're coming in. Huge on Sim to execute, and he will with the opening frag onto it there, so it has to fall apart from there, but welcome Dante to the stage, everybody. He's able to shake things up for All Knight's favor just enough to win them back to space and the round. But again, it's so close.
Nah, we gotta see Dante again. It's every single matchup. There's not even just one moment. There's like at least 2 or 3 where the sliding crosshair placement is unbelievable there. That is wild.
What a lineup. That was so gross.
It just works for him. Unbelievable.
Going somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why Dante is statistically, I think, in the top 3 going into today in terms of not even just duelists or even just Neon users, but just players in general in this event. There has been, like, for All Knights, it hasn't been the best run so far, but with another tech pause, we get to just stew into what Dante has stored up for this defensive Neon.
Oh, man.
And we start off on the defense too for them, right? Yeah. A Neon on defense for a map like this, dude, that is so hard to find value on.
Yeah, Dante has been so hell-bent on this and Sunset in particular, on interceptions, even when he's literally on the other side of the map and playing on Neon. He is able to do that. It's just really hard to do that every single round, and yet he tries to. And just the amount that he's able to persist and get in these fights, it not only speaks to, obviously, Dante's ability, but it also speaks to All Knights' ability to elongate fights that are normally supposed to be those pinprick, one-and-dones that Sim is starting to execute.
Yeah.
But with that force buy, unfortunately, TSM will be far more worse for wear going into this 3rd round. And like you said, a lot of time to sit and think about what they've done.
Well, it makes me worried, and this was a big, I guess complaint's not the right idea, but it was a big thing I was worried about going into Ascension. Dante loves to overheat, especially on this map, regardless of defense or attack. Loves to overheat and play well above beyond any of his teammates. That has changed a lot as we continue through Ascension. Dante, much more in control, playing around his teammates, has not overheated nearly as much, and still finds a lot of value. And here he is playing with his teammates, watching down below in short. Oh, but the lineup early on, he gets removed. That's gonna leave it Verso all by himself.
Exactly how you need to take that opening fight for TSM. Sim's first relay bolt doesn't catch as much ground as he wanted it to. The bounces on those boxes can be finicky, but Sim can still find the pick onto Inverso, and from here, TSM look like they've opened the space more than enough, able to take the fights bit by bit. Very good isolation work done by Sim in particular.
Spike planted.
Again, that first opening lineup was just really well placed. Again, exactly the way that you need to take All Knights on for this execute, which they will let go of. And All Knights, looks like they'll just have to save with all of that space they've lost.
Yeah,
here.
Especially for a bonus buy too. Maintaining that Vandal will be helpful into the next round. And Sabando, maybe the Bulldog's not the worst option. this was a very not healthy buy for TSM either. We see a litany of Sheriffs and of course Sim with the singular Vandal. Still good to clear away A site. Of course, this is the site too where there's very little utility in terms of stopping the stall against TSM. It was just down to Dante to really be that first fortification against the entire team, and that failed. I'm curious to see if Team Chop is going to start anchoring down A site, and if that's what TSM wants, there's a very good chance they won't want to push A again, just in case there is that big adjustment from AK side.
Certainly. And still when TSM is in a bit of a frail position, post Blacklight Thrifty, All Knights with those 2 guns that they held on to have forced about half of TSM to still buy up. And their creds are still not something to write home about just yet, only 4 rounds deep, so they will still have to play like their lives depend on it. It'll be a C hit to start things out, Keg, you're right on the money.
Yep, Team Chop is the sole body here. There is that extremity control that should be denied with the tripwire inside Garage. He's got right away. Now, AK, again, we talk about the weaponry, it's not great. We could see that sacrifice come in. It could be a flood retake, but that utility usage from TSM is going to be everything. But Sabando took the 1vx. It was good for 1, but already fell. There's a single rifle, and that's Dante's. But he is 1 off getting the other.
Oh, and they might not need it in there, so with the helmet of flashes and the concuss is able to open up the space for Dante to run through the rest of it. And what a duo this IGL and Duelist is! What an intro to All Knights. If you haven't heard, now you have.
Go, go, go!
Absolutely what you're looking for, right? Again, a retake, the basis of Dante only having a rifle, nobody else. It was just pistols. And Virgil enters in for the retake, gets a double kill immediately, and from there is able to clear out for the retake. Great communication, great positioning control, and more so, great timing, waiting out very valuable. Oh, is he doing the? Okay. But like a great timing, waiting out the utility from TSM. Now, we talked about the buys being a little weird for both teams, but we'll be waiting to see what the buy-ups can look like into this next round. I think we need to look at All Knights, though, because, again, we talked about the Punch's Fury being loaded up for Adverso, the Overdrive for the Neon also being potentially brought into this next round. If you have those this early, go for it, right? Get that early info. Don't buy up into this round and collect the guns away from TSM.
For sure. Yeah, continue to play as safe as you need to. And again, when you can dole out your resources like this, when one player can just sweep the floor,
Are we saying
feels
the
pretty
goats?
good, though. Dude, Dante has been on. He's become very camera friendly after all of these tech pauses across the group stage. I think everyone's had a lot of media training this week. So ultimately good for the future of T2 Valorant, I think. We're gonna have a lot better interviews, I think, going forward.
I mean, I liked all the interviews
They're gonna
so
be great.
far.
I'm not saying they were bad. I'm saying
it'll be even better.
I'm saying that the players are gonna be so much more charismatic coming out of this tournament.
Having met a lot of the TSM people in the past, they've been super charismatic. Like, I remember they would be at conventions just, like, standing out for hours on end, and it's like, ah, man, how does your back not hurt?
Oh, yeah, the things that these orgs put these players through. Brutal.
It's awesome. I'm so happy that we see so many shining faces coming through into this scene.
Yeah. And so many new ones for anybody not from the region. I mean, this has been a tremendous introduction to All Knights for you and me coming into this tournament and coming out of it surely for the remainder of North America. Again, if you don't know, now you know.
Yeah, true. Fans for life. But as we wait into these next few rounds, again, the stakes are fairly high for both these teams, especially on the end of TSM, coming in from the bottom of the groups. They've had a rough run, but they did look great yesterday. These early attacking rounds have looked fairly solid to get onto site, but as we've seen from All Knights in the past so far this tournament, and a lot of the teams outside of America, they love to go for these full team or maybe even a 4v5 retake styles that work out so well. A very brawly region, working for most of the round, being at the very end of it time-wise. So you have to stay alert for these contact angles. You can't just dilly-dally in these early rounds. And going back to what the desk mentioned, I'm wondering if that's where we might see that freeze up in the mid-rounding if the rounds go on way too long.
Yeah. All Knights fights are their strong suit, and the longer the fights go, the longer All Knights reigns. But the moments in which TSM can move, the moments in which TSM can throw AK for a loop, the moments in which AK is forced to reset, the more times you reset, the less times you can fight, the less times All Knights is as viable in their comfort zone. TSM, this attack has to bamboozle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, looking like a mid push here. TSM, again, they love to go for these fast rounds. It's worked well against a lot of these teams. Instead, though, they put that early pressure. They back away. Dante, originally having that extra space upwards to lobby, chooses to back off the same. That early smoke A lobby so good to either force out utility from the attacking team or have them stall their own way out. And yet, so far, it's a freeze. One of the longest rounds that we've had so far already, magically. The highlighted pings that are red go to show that there could be an early smoke A entrance, blocking Dante's view. A short way, no. Instead, block sewer, a primary focus to contest Dante right away.
Flow chart from the pistol round will now go the other way.
I'm out of here.
With that smoke, All Knights stack will additionally lean a little heavier into A site, aware of how this could go. But as it fades away again, so will All Knights, so will TSM.
Go, go, go.
Consider alternatives, but with only 30 seconds to go, and Dante catching
30 seconds left.
bit of a head there, I believe. Unclear as to where TSM could go, except bottle-nosing B site, where no one is present for that matter. And so they find comfort pretty quickly. Hurry Fury from Adverso is a little late, but a little decent, finding some damage and some interruption on the GMD, who will only grab the one. Now it's Dante's time. With the overdrive in hand, will approach Sim. It takes a little too long to kill. Only good for the one because of it. Poised, multitasking with util and frags, while Seven holds it down with a Hunter's Fury of his own. All Knights look to be timed out from here, but with no util, it comes down to how well Adverso can fight. Only good for the one, so Tinshop can recall just after the halfway point of the defuse. And it's all perfectly managed at the end of the day for All Knights.
Great read from TSM, making sure that they could avoid most of the ultimates spread out against Dante's ult, was to make sure there wasn't some immediate sweeps with the Electro Beam. But regardless, though, great patience from AK side. They held down B site, no over rotations. The utility spread from Team Job covered the entire second half. Well, I suppose I should say the left side of the map for the defense, covering C all the way into B site.
Right there.
Denying the
Right
fact
there.
that TSM, regardless of where they go, there would always be a presence from All Knights, making that retake a little bit easier with some bodies gone. TSM once more, they're wanting to push into C site. It was their most confident round yet. Nico, one off from getting the Rolling Thunder, has not gone for A orb. Not a complete amount of information just yet for AK, but Sabando holding back. Does give the call about the tripwire being shot out. TSM keep faking presence early on in the hopes that All Knights are over-rotating.
Silence.
Catch. Tragedy strikes. TSM yet again. Sim let this ultimate go. Give the seer on the old college try, and Guimond has opened up a moment. Nico Machine not hit by the relay bolt yet again.
Enemy remaining.
Sim cannot deliver. And All Knights have all the resources they need to come through and finish that round clean. The three still standing. Their economy is finally starting to look decent to take the rest of this half with confidence.
Yeah, I'm starting to worry about TSM's confidence here. Their early rounds where they didn't have to necessarily worry about rifles. They could just barrel in. The site looked a lot more, again, confident than it is now. It's a lot of over-engineering in the early parts of a round, and it works well against a lot of teams where you break one piece of utility and these defenders rotate the entirety of the site. But for All Knights, they have that communication down where they have that trust of at least getting one kill before being traded out, before that rotation happens. And we talked about those small tactical mistakes that we could see from either team. The relay bolt missed from Sim, leading to his death, is a critical error about taking C-site.
And I really don't think tactical pauses have necessarily slowed All Knights down, because there is also so much for them to be improving as well. Well, I mean, all they really have to discuss is just their fighting, because that's all they're doing. Is just once they're in, it's all about what angles do you take, how properly do you clear stuff, what's the
Yeah,
What's the flowchart of util that you use? I mean, a lot of the questions are already kind of answered for the way All Knights gets to play.
I mean, I feel like for All Knights, it's mostly just reinforcing what they're doing already.
Yeah.
They could change up the pacing here, and maybe that's something TSM is expecting to have happen. A lot of teams, after these pauses, will change it up. You play super slow, we're gonna play fast, right on the choke points. And with 3 bodies of All Knights now stacked up on A, they could easily go for the early Sun or the Rolling Thunder and collapse on them. There it is! The fastest comes through, the Rolling Thunder comes by. But even then, it's a stall city. What is happening? Nobody can see a thing.
GMD, what a TP in the fracas! And a paranoia to field out at Verso. TSM take all of the space, and it just takes the Omen ultimate and 1 lone body. The rest of the squad will make their way up to A site, and this time, the crunch is on their side.
Spike planted.
Not having to worry about Team Chomp's utility on C or B, you push into A. It was wild. So many different pretty colors to see for TSM to get on the site. But they won the pivotal 1v1s. They won the duels necessary. And losing only Sim allowed the rest of TSM to push in the site. Rondo does have a chance, but a 1v4 on one of the hardest sites in the game to retake, even in a 5v5, not gonna make things easy whatsoever.
All eyes on Sabando. No longer a proto. Fielded away in the smoke. 7 realizes what Sabando's plan is and interrupts it. 2 up for TSM's attack. All Knights defense is their better half so far this tournament. Of course, very small sample size for that statistic, but it's clear that there are holes in All Knights defense if TSM find the way around it. A very easy way around it is a GMD ultimate, just TPing behind everybody else. But how else can you skirt these blockades that All Knights has been able to set up so quickly? More often than not, you use Sim, or you use a Proto, but they've been too integral to the fight lately.
No, I think TSM's already found the answer. A 3-stack last round, the early Rolling Thunder from All Knights outside of sewers, and that didn't stop TSM.
Oh man,
that is a major issue. It's already opened up.
But they're staying put. Waiting to see if anybody else chomps at the bit here. And Nico Machine is considering. TSM now considering the rotation. He was trying to field the remaining 3 into the stack on A site, but All Knights has not bent. They've just spread themselves out a little thin here. Sabando will be the bell ringer.
Just a matter now of waiting. They were waiting on 7's timing here for the recon. The fault line set up ready. GMD double smokes.
Stealing sight.
It's all set up for the fast lane. Sabando is going to TP into it. Try to play into this fight despite getting reconned. And TSM, they'll make the call. Too much presence here. Let's head over to the other end where Tinchoff is ready. You have to get more than 1 here if you are Tinchoff. In comes the run from Sim. Tinchoff ignores after doing the chip and can find GMD, but it's a 2v, a fractured 4 on TSM. Sim is not difficult to cut down, but now you've got to stall away.
10 seconds
Can Nico
left.
Machine play the clock or play the field? Either way, you've got to play, and that's a good start. Now a 2v2 that AK's turned this into, and a Proto reveals his head, but 7 reveals his hand. Sabando gone. 7 skirting across the smoke. Nico Machine having to avoid so much, but the fault line is able to reset. Force 7 into the disadvantageous turn. Nico Machine guesses wrong, but 7 misses the shot. And we try again with less time. 7 still holding all the cards, and still he'll back away. The re-up, and Nico Machine reads it. All Knights receive the Zippo clutch and the 6th round. A blessing here on Haven.
A blessing, sure, that's one way to look at it. What a trilogy of errors from TSM. The entire point of clearing out A, waiting and resetting for the next move was to wait for 7's recon to come back online, clear out A site, and push in as a team. A distinct numbers advantage. The top player of the team gone. A site was clear and the info was there to confirm it. And yet even then, TSM, they rerouted and went across the map to a site they had no information on and lost a series of 1v1s.
Oh, Sim now hungry, and Verso won't make the same mistake twice, and All Night says, you want to fight? I'm ready to fight! Sabando with 4! All Night!
Oh, no.
Let's do it all over again, baby!
Oh, TSM, what is happening? They've realized now, yeah, we have to push A, and Sabando was ready. All Nights, they have what they need. They're already good for the half, and they've recognized now TSM only look comfortable if they push A site. And now, that key is, that door's been unlocked. So you're back at the beginning now if you're TSM, a broken buy, what do you do? The red pings show that this should be a B-side attack.
Cage triggered.
7 has that Hunter's Fury set up and ready. But look at the buys. Is it worth using here? There's still quite a few more rounds left this half.
Take flight.
The early smokes try to trick All Nights, and there's more pressure that forces the Owl Drone out by Adverso.
Oh, what a catch by Sabando yet again, but Sim's already in, able to grab the 1. And that lets the rest of TSM in the door. All Nights will give 1 more away as well.
Spike planted.
But GMD will get traded out eventually, and so it's a 3v3 for a post-plant. Sims overdrive. Either win it out or claw. Either way, All Nights don't like their odds. 7 will help out Sim answer the question for them, and so now it's a forcible entry from All Nights. Dante Deus now the Neon in control. All Nights trying to be the team in charge, but still a lot of work to do. A Proto will win that fight, and so now it's a crunch onto Dante Deus, which he'll have to get proactive in. He certainly does! Style on him! For an 8-2 lead from All Nights. No answers just yet. TSM continue to claw. All Nights continue to rise.
Oh, just when it looks like it should be a TSM round. Dante just, it's magical. Unbelievable thinking, a split-second decision. Which fight do I take first? Even after being ulted, the decision-making skills, the crosshair placement, the nerves of steel coming out from All Nights is impeccable.
They're so calm right now.
Oh. I'm speechless, dude. Okay. All Nights are reading into the fact that TSM, they're trying new things. They've recognized A cannot be the move anymore. Early Owl Drone B does not find a lot of information about the site itself. A tripwire set up. That's bait. The theory now is that the wall from Sim will come up, block off Sabando's position. He can use that trip to take down the Neon. But they're taking this slow again. They're gonna reroute back to A, and Dante's ready for the first pick.
As always.
He has the ult as well. The longer TSM wait, the more util they use, the harder it's gonna be to get to A site.
A double back on the fault line. But there's just a little too much pressure. TSM.
Oh no.
Good rhythm though.
This is so risky.
He's gonna be walking into quite a bit here. He does not know it. GMD's been holding this line up. Sabando's gonna be walking into it right as it's supported. How many can he get? Sabando good for 1, and now the paranoia to follow up on top of it. He's gonna hear the shots, but now the aftershock is gonna force out the smoke. Sabando's just gonna have to spray and pray his way through, and he barely has any time to. TSM, way to get on top of that. Crisis averted, but now comes a new one. It's Dante Deus on the overdrive, but he can't make enough space. TSM have it up, and they've outstretched the garage in tandem too. AK might have the firepower still. Nico Machine has let it. Verso take the reins on the outside and turn it into another 1v1, and with 7 self-titled on the HP, All Nights are able to cement this round, and no doubt the half. TSM have nothing walking into round 12.
Oh, TSM. There's moments of brilliance shutting down Sabando, overextended by Green. He was still good for 1, sure, but...
I love it, dude. I love it. I love it.
I do too. I live for moments like these. But again, TSM, like, these rounds should be going in their favor, but they're losing critical fights. And that is just the expertise of All Nights, isn't it? Back to B once more we go. A Rolling Thunder from Nico Machine set up and ready to go, but the same can be said for 7. A Hunter's Fury. Good and ready, but he's gonna have to back away as soon as that spike goes down.
Planted.
Surely he won't use ult on site. No, it just wastes more time. This Owl Drone, look at the positioning of Nico. Perfect for the Rolling Thunder to charge down into Garden.
Sabando's has been found out early, though, and so they're going to be able to start spraying at him. A lot of damage done, and 7 wants to take the initiative, but the stun into the ult from Nico Machine, no doubt. It's got to come out soon. No, he's going to reposition, get caught by that trap wire, and TSM spots another moment, another window. Dante Deus tries to get active on it, but Iferiso has been sitting on this the whole time, and Nico Machine able to provide cover fire. 7's ult is late, and All Knights still get away with it.
Switching sides.
Unbelievable. All Knights. The decision making in the smallest moments just look fantastic. And again, TSM, their errors are being capitalized on. The ult coming out just slightly too late. A lack of information, the calls, the comms. Could be a litany of different things adding up. And here we are once more. All Knights are looking fantastic on this map. And we mentioned it before, TSM have not been the happiest of campers on this map. And you can see why. They have the confidence in the early to mid rounds, and they have the right ideas, but the execution's flawed.
It is just not all coming together. They're mentally so boomed. So scattered. So, keep it coming, please. But I mean, just what a tough skyrocket from AK and just snowball down south for TSM over that, what, 4 or 5 round sequence that was?
Yeah.
I mean, that was 2 big fulcrum rounds that TSM had such a good grip on it. And then they got one on the Eco too. It is a lifeline. It is a finger holding on to the cliff. And All Knights are just able to stomp that finger out with whatever they have left.
Look, it's a 3-site map. Generally considered to be attacker-sided. You have a lot of options to fake out your defensive team, to make them over-rotate, to take down a 1v5, a singular defensive hold. And we saw that quite a bit on B and on C. Really, the only defensive stack-up All Knights had early round was on A. And that's what TSM was able to bypass early on. They looked great removing Dante as the opening pick a few rounds in a row. But then everyone else in All Knights, they stepped up to the plate. And they looked amazing. And again,
how about Sabondo, dude? Having such an amazing defense.
Yeah,
just so much control.
But here's the thing, right? What I'm getting at is that this is a side you do not want to go 2-10 on. All Knights have a clear path to victory to bring things to map 3. To map 2, excuse me. We're not there yet. The Abyss has been an interesting map for both teams. But you have to see how this plays out here. A 4-stat gamble for TSM on A. Recon Bolt finds nothing. A gamble gone wrong. It's All Knights with full C control.
Gotta go.
You guessed right. And the world is yours. TSM. This retake has to be legendary. And it's gotta be soon.
It's gotta be
Stack
now.
with a proto. There is no more time for decision making. It's gotta be now. There is no extra time on this. You have so much to do. A laundry list that Dante is gonna start to stall. Followed up by the smoke from Sabondo. All Knights get to just play this for so damn long. Dante, first step in. How do you do? First one gone. TSM peek out into all the angles in the world and do find a lot of purchase. Sabondo is the only one left on site. Sim is able to clear him out. Tinshoff just now making it, and the spike is not in a very safe position here. A proto can clear him out, and TSM, they will just barely make it work.
Oh, a third of a second left. Who could have been so scary had that execution been literally a third of a second later. This would have been doomsday for TSM. But now we have what could be the start of a miracle. They can have the buy-up rounds. If you recall all the way back, round 2 of the first half of this game, it was still an All Knights favor, and we saw TSM with the buy-up. That was scary. But this is definitely a time to turn it back around.
Yeah.
I'm wondering now, All Knights with how many rounds they have to spare, are they gonna buy up? Yes, they do.
Yes! Yes, I love it! Oh, man. All Knights is here to play.
Oh,
any day, any time, but Dante will pay the price. Followed up swiftly by Tinshoff. 7 can hold his ground. And All Knights, the gamble so far, not much to call. your own, and that trend will continue here as All Knights. Space is made, but TSM, they're here to fight, and they'll win that for sure. Yeah, great shutdown to make it a 4-10 game and reset AK, just like TSM was.
And TSM's a momentum-heavy team. Once they get those rounds going, it's hard to stop them. Something they weren't able to activate on when they were on the attack, but now they can play against the pacing of All Knights. Dante, eyes on him now. Very common on this attacking side to overheat. But
right
could
there.
See this being brought back early on. Again, they have rounds to spare. Dante can get away with a little bit more flexibility than usual. Another broken by yet again. Dante equipped with a Bucky this time of all things too.
So is Nico.
Yeah, looking to go fast in the B though. Dante's going to create a lot more space in TSM space with the Bucky.
He's going to immediately rush into the smoke and hold it down. He's going to check for presence of early Link as well. He might have spotted 7. I don't know how much V-Sync he's got on. Good paranoia. Oh, it's a channel into C-Link. This is a big risk to take, but it's one you gotta. Good overextension by Dante to at least stall for some time, but can't do much more, especially from the other doorway, which Sim has opened up, and TSM from there should be able to take it very decisively. One first tap on the spike, which means the rest of AK comes calling. TSM will answer with now a 5-10.
Great clutch retake again from TSM. The fact of the matter is that they were willing to give up B for the entirety of the round and play purposely for the retake. Holding bodies on site was done a little bit, but for the most part, there hasn't been a response to these retakes yet from All Knight side. Now I'm curious to see how long are they going to continue to go for these broken buys? Will this be the emergence of the timeout? Or are we going to go a few more rounds deeper before All Knight start to consider a brand new strat? I mean, I think if Dante had just maintained himself inside those connector smokes, that would have been a winning round.
Yeah.
But he overheated and tried to go directly into C.
No other way to open up from there. You've got to be a little bit more reactive when playing, especially from that door. Such a lopsided second that you let go and try to extend one way, especially if you lose the fight.
Oh, out drone.
Oh, see Sim, I love this cell. Great insertion of Poised. 7's been spotted. Tinshoff does not know he's in a 1v2 though, and 7 will now let him know. Paranoia, easy body. Sim is actually the one to get that kill. Poised still hasn't really revealed himself, and he might not even need to for this take. He still get cleared out. And actually, yeah, now Poised, his position does come in handy. So much that All Knights are uncertain, to the point where they'll start rotating to where Savando has been able to open this up so beautifully. Hey, there's Cypher Camera D. Ooh, a proto.
This is so good. The shutdown the rotates.
Doesn't spot a thing. Savando, there's nothing! And All Knights, the foot race is not won. With minimal time left, they'll just have to go for it. And Dante's been spotted. Nico has not, and he'll be able to get the spike down, but anything more than that, yeah, good luck. Dante has to try and make a ruckus to force away this first fault line, but TSM will no doubt have another one before the round is done. Nico Machine has to let go of his own Link to again play the stall. Dante and Nico are gonna play the site, play the field, and Nico Machine and Dante come through! Both lineups, both double kills! Both incredible! Immediately turn around, has All Knights.
I need to see the replay again. The fault line coming out so early, and yet the capitalization off of it. Dante still swings post the fault line with the expectation of focusing on Nico Machine after it had failed. What a great read and a great usage of a missed utility coming out from Nico. That was, again, a great crunch. No matter what the odds are for All Knights, you have to watch out for them. A desperately needed round again for TSM. Falling away, the first one to do so this half. All Knights, if they can just get 2 more rounds like that, they are golden for map 1. But they're playing these early rounds a little rambunctiously.
Yeah.
It's gotten scary too, but just because they have 6 rounds ahead doesn't mean they have room to play with either.
And tail of the tape, it's not like TSM are necessarily doing much wrong in the sense of mechanics, in the sense of macro, in the sense of, you know, piling on for the fight. Sure, you could say, oh, but they're playing All Knights' game. They're being forced to retake in stacks. They're being forced for the one-and-done fight. But I don't necessarily think they're doing that. I think they're playing to their strengths of holding down sites long-term and then playing for the for trying to field a rotation into a bad position after planting.
As long as TSM can keep All Knights as a whole at bay, they'll be fine. The issue now for All Knights is when they get into those clutch 1v1s. TSM, they make one wrong move, and it's Dante that can just obliterate them. That's the scary motion to be in.
Know that the trap wires are here. It will not catch Dante, and that means he's able to do something, but only one kill he is good for. The rest of All Knights are unfortunately unable to blast onto site as prepared, but they'll still be able to take the space and the spike, and Verso is able to avoid Poised's LOS, and it'll be a 3v2 in this post plant. That's once again on C site. Owl Drone will be able to get early intel before the spike fully goes down, and Sim has taken lane! TSM, enough time has been wasted, and that means AK is so much weaker. Sim, go collect your prize. Thank you very much. 6-11 now.
Good off the hands of the timeout. A great read early on from TSM to know where All Knights would want to fast push into. Big changes. All Knights still only a single round win so far this half. They have the ult stacked up this time. They have that overdrive. They have the Hunter's Fury. That was something Adverso was looking to gain going into the post plant that last round. They were still down a body and they had no info about the C long flank. It wouldn't have happened. 5 rounds now, TSM behind. They've had to fight tooth and nail to make it this far already with a very poor attacking half themselves. But Dante immediately ults his way into A.
Top the double fault line, but Seven's in a weird position. Weird enough to avoid the recon bolt as well, and makes the fight a little touchy. A Proto is also in a fun spot. Nico Machine, once again, it takes a little too long, but the rest of AK has been able to come in through sewer and overwhelm, and Sabondo's going crazy. Stinger, dude, hello? Sim from on high is able to find an easy 2, though, and is actually going to let this ult fly to try and save the round against Adverso close range. This is difficult, but Adverso very terrified. What a way to end such a crazy round! Sim saves the day with this Zippo clutch and keeps TSM fighting here on Haven.
Absolutely stepped up since the beginning of this tournament. Sim is looking fantastic. This Neon, probably the slowest Neon we've seen in terms of speed. This whole tournament has really ramped up. A great 3K to keep TSM into map 1. This is the TSM we saw yesterday. A team that can just keep it on going. And these retakes have looked good. All Knights are in an awkward spot now. These fast entries that they've been using for so long are being used against them. And once more we go. A fast entry towards Garage, at least to start things off. Early smoke down C to help blockade the backside first of the defense. GMD is ready and waiting with the paranoia. Cyber Cage on the call. But All Knights back away. Spike in the possession of Nico. Hanging around with Dante. Still tells me this should be a fast plant regardless of where they go. But the tripwires have been identified not as Garage. They're on A site. This is all still a big trap for TSM. They want this A push more than anything else.
Tinshoff gets to play by himself for the first time all game as well. And even then, Sabondo's going to come in to chaperone a little bit. But
there's
all for the
no
B plan.
tripwires B main.
Yeah, there's nothing here, so Tinshoff is going to get intel of that.
Off your
that
feet!
makes All Knights reconsider. Okay, never mind. We're throwing in the Rolling Thunder, and we're going in. Dante Deus, a world of support to get away from these tripwires, but it will clear away the entirety of this site. Nico Machine, the first to frag, and now it should be all AK in the kill feed, but TSM still have this high ground, and they're able to use it to drop down a little early. They'll take the fight now, and a Proto still standing. Yet again, here we are, 1v1 in Tinshoff. Finally, that insertion is going to find something. It's going to find a flank that is caught by the camera, and then a Proto. They'll keep the party going. It's a defensive haven today.
Just great protocol set up by TSM. The fact of the matter is that they were able to stall All Knights away from Garage, force them over to A site, and you could see the positioning, especially apparent from a Proto, and I believe Sim near connector of A, backing away, fully anticipating the Rolling Thunder coming out from Nico and the fast entry. The only small hitch in the plan was the fact that a Proto wasn't able to sight down on Dante. That made me very scared for a second. The fact that this Neon was hit by both tripwires and yet through the smoke could not be eliminated. But But that's where the rest of TSM came in the way, and they were good to shut down the ground forces. Another attack pause coming out from All Knights. Remember, it was a 10-2 lead for All Knights, and now they're down by what? 3 rounds.
Yeah.
They have not found an answer except for a singular round.
The TSM shutdown game has been really solid. And of course, their players have come up clutch here on the defensive side, just as All Knights did in that first half themselves. Now, going into these last couple rounds, I mean, does All Knights continue to play A default to any degree? Or
tough.
do you start playing the mental again? Because I like, interception is clearly so much of TSM's game plan at this point on defense. If they're going to A-stack, they're going to catch you and they're going to beat you. They have figured out this push fight.
And look, you know, most of the time when we from America, we see like the response to attack timeout being just default, play for picks. That's not something All Knights really does. They don't really default that much. They 4-1 split. That's kind of their default.
Oh, this is gorgeous from Sim. Can't finish off Sabando. Good paranoia to stall things out. And now Dante is going to circle back from the other side. Welcome in, All Knights. But Guimond has not been taken care of. And again, TSM is already here. And so the fight's still pretty even. Sabando with no health at all and peeking God knows where. Unable to catch anything. And so TSM retain advantage despite such a quick play style. 7 watching, but in the 2v1 loses out. And All Knights can once again even the odds. GMD Proto will stack for the mid round.
Yeah, but keep in mind too, utility for Proto has not been discovered by All Knights. They were on C site, no tripwires found. That must mean it has to be on A or B. Ult available. Adverso could hold down C long, possibly with that Hunter's Fury post plant. I know, a big smoke set up already. That's going to force out the recon bolt from Adverso and give away the plot for C. Still shock bolts available. Someone's got to watch the flank, but the crossfire is going to take priority. All Knights, they have to plant somewhere unorthodox. The smoke goes down.
30
They're
seconds
lined
left.
up. Nico
Last player
1v1, a
standing.
singular
Spike
HP.
down, C.
25 seconds, you can't rotate.
And a Proto is still being found out. Nico Machine will peek back and a Proto will finalize. What a reposition that All Knights were not expecting in the least. And that has been how you beat them. Doing something they are simply not prepared for. Especially not fight. You get yourself in those angles where you're still able to win out.
Enemy remaining.
Like GMD did once Dante and Tinshoff got on. Then TSM can retain control, and those blowout moments that Dante makes look so scary at the end of the day. A far cry from a decider in the round.
They go for it again. All Knights cannot find the proper answer.
Again, All Knights, how willing are you to take this fight? Poised, laying in wait in the smoke. On the window, and TSM, they're already inching at this front line. This could be a clash in the garage, but Tinshoff will again just be inserted. This is a very readable play from All Knights if TSM has done their homework.
I don't know. Because the thing that TSM is expecting is maybe 1 lurk, but not 2. There's Sabando.
Yeah, waiting in the cubby up C long. All Knights considering options. House hunting here. And C lane looks to be the move, at least at the 55-second mark. Tinshoff, what do you do from here? Everything else has already been set up. Question is, when do you press this trigger to go lurk? After Dante lets the fast lane go, it's still 2 in garage. TSM will play entirely for the post plant. They got a feeling that somebody else is coming up from the way back. They're correct. Hunter's Fury from Adverso, he will go hunting actually early in the link and catch some big chip damage onto Sim. All Knights can play entirely from lane, ready for the flank, but it's all from Link, except in Garage, where again, these Cyphers are having a little standstill. The rest of the fight rages on in C lane. From site to lane, a Proto will finally win the duel, and now it's a 4v3. TSM can play a little more aggressive, maybe throw a body in front of this if they need to. A Proto can most definitely hold for half, that is for sure. Slided from Dante, now the double smoke. TSM, they don't have enough AK! They can spray through, and Adverso will finish it up. AK, they have just enough to get over the line, and that is what they will need once more to escape with this map.
Great alterations again to play as a team. Dante not overheating and playing for C-Long. Not losing bodies at the beginning of the round was the name of the game, keeping everybody alive as long as possible. And instead of setting up Dante for success, the basis of the round was setting up Adverso, making sure, again, get on site, let the Hunter's Fury fly, have the recon for the late round, get maximum information. A big weakness for AK up until this round. And one thing they weren't even aware of was that Seven invested in the Odin. Not to be seen here. A huge Rolling Thunder once again. It just barely doesn't connect.
Wanted to pick up on that fight immediately. Really thought that they were going for the full stack, but Dante was pretty ahead of the pack this time. Now, Tinchop, this is a fun position to be inserted in, and he'll come out a little bit early. Only good for one, though, and TSM, again, crisis management, very solid here. Seaside has been taken, but only by 2 members of AK, and TSM, they are ready for this very early on into the post.
Nico is so close to that Rolling Thunder. He's gonna push up and try to get 2 off of this Owl drone just to confirm the ult.
Wow.
He needs 1.
We switch it up again. Aftershock to stall the push. It's gonna be on GMD's Paranoia. In rushes Sim. It's gotta be a Veriso first, and it's found! A Proto, the off angle of the garage. Once again, it's perfect! TSM will make it 10-12.
Big thing we said about TSM yesterday was that their individuality was their strongest suit. And it's still just as true here. But the calls, the synergy, the strategy that they're making has worked unbelievably in this second half. This is the TSM I was really hoping to see for today, and this is a TSM that does not want to fall and drown in group stage of Ascension. Remember, Ascension life is on the line for both of these teams in this series.
Life or death. This matchup is
2 rounds. It was 10 before.
What a defense that TSM has made for themselves to mirror AK's. 2 opportunities for this attacking side to wrap their choice of map up.
A free A orb? Dante can pick that up, get the overdrive alongside Nico Machine's ult.
Right here. Be pretty big.
He doesn't.
Dante, yeah, he'll instead just run right in, and TSM, they're not here early, which means they'll have to play the retake. Seven's ready with the shock bolts, though, and Adverso is going to take the brunt of that. Things off. Spike still not planted. Great timing with the Rolling Thunder. From the other side, they've been prepared for this flank, but can they win the fight? It appears not. The gun dip is still too strong.
I'm out of here.
Nothing doing for All Knights here, as they'll get the spike down, but nothing else. And it'll be a Blacklight flawless in the penultimate round of regulation.
Retake after retake, TSM. All Knights are making it easy for them. They don't have to do much in the early round, just a simple piece of utility to stall them back, force out early util, early audio usage from All Knights into their barrel rush attack. And from there, great IGL call made just to go for these simple retakes, take these fights through smokes, really make All Knights fight through all this utility and not get the simple 1v1s that this team preys on. Another tactical pause. What
no better
a
time. No better a time.
Yeah, I mean, what time left is there before OT?
You might as well.
There's just the answer has not been found outside of a singular round, and even then, you could call that up to luck, getting that swing off of a missed piece of utility that All Knights had when it mattered most, and TSM even then still bounced back. The morale still high.
And you got to do it one more time. You've got to hold them back one more time before we give them another chance. And All Knights will have the bye. They will be remarkably close to a bevy of ults, including Day06's overdrive, so you can amp up the tempo of the fight whenever you want to. There is a lot here that All Knights can play into when it comes to their strengths. But TSM have been avoiding moments in which All Knights can play to those during this defensive half. The question is, do you lean into who you are as All Knights on this attack round? Or do you stray from the path? Do you do something new? Do you do what TSM was able to do to net what few rounds they did on their attacking half?
Right here.
The rounds that we've seen successful from All Knights was straying away from that path. Seven investing into the Odin, Hunter's Fury in tow. Sim having all Dante one away.
Go.
These orbs, so important to fight for, but it seems TSM are barely doing so. They may swing. Oh, man. But even then, it gets chilly. The push isn't there. Sabando holds Cubby corner to find the greedy push here. If Sim falls, that's devastating.
Oh, but Sim!
Sabando! The smokes are gone! How do you push?
The freest pick you will ever see. And TSM barely have to lift a finger. All Knights now, it comes down to Tinchoff as the lonely insert here on B main. Where again, there is no Cypher util, but there is also no time at this stage for AK.
Right to the trips.
It's gotta be here, and it's gotta be now. Shock darts to clear. A blind to field out a proto as well. And there's the overdrive. Here and now, Tinchoff will call out the 3 steppers from mid. And All Knights on that proc will double back just as TSM makes their way over to A-Link.
Unbelievable.
You do not have much more time for this, but
30 seconds
TSM,
left.
they have been completely bamboozled. All Knights with 25 to go. They have a completely vacant B site for themselves.
With the
But
retake.
just for good measure, they've got to clear. Fault line, relay bolt, Adverso holding it down. Hunter's Fury just in time, and it's not far enough. TSM will go the distance, just as we will here on Haven. A blacklight flawless to take us to overtime.
Overtime.
Still no answers from All Knights. 2 rounds that half, same for both teams. This attack has been brutal
Player stand.
for both. And now, as we enter overtime, who's gonna win that one attacking round to bring it home? I'm sure we can assume that these defense rounds will be traded back and forth to each team, starting from the ground up and recreating something new. An identical roster of agents for both sides makes it so difficult to find an advantage. And TSM, as you mentioned, they've barely had to lift a finger in the early rounds. They just wait for All Knights to make their move and respond reactively. See that 4-1 split this time from TSM's favor. An early smoke. Dante overheats.
Here we go again.
Maybe he won't. He abides by the smoke, but there is that Cypher camp going down. It's destroyed. Put on a timer. That's going to be a big crushing amount of info that a Proto won't have.
Once again, he'll dip in. No smoke this time. This is risky. Such a wide open space. And Dante, after taking the brunt of the aggression in the fight against Sim, will say I had my piece just in time for Poised's fault line to not reach ground in time.
Off. The camera. Give away the entire plot. Still majority of defense still stacked up on A site. No ult available for any members of the server. A Russian's called. No util available to stall out Sim. Backside control already given.
All Knights are not prepared to fight this. All the util that's on timers will be reset. That fault line will be ready again for this retake. You have everybody. You have things in your kit. But what more? Sim will get caught out early on. A lot of damage done. Dante with the finisher. And AK have sight. But now comes the hard part. Into the trap wire. Dante will fall. It's neon for neon. Fault lines back. Now the spray. AK have to weather the storm, and some kills will certainly help. Sabando, what a spot to be able to find some extra damage on high. GMT is the only man who can play this, and AK make it work from such a tough vantage.
Switching
But the
sides.
defenses have been what is
Match
strong, and
point.
so AK, they will once again have a game point to try to springboard off of.
This might be a very long overtime, man. All it takes is one team to get an attacking round. A defense round, a retake, it's essentially a given for both of these teams. You really have to outsmart on the attack in order for us not to have a 4-hour-long game. But the way things are going right now, the steam for TSM is looking great. And All Knights at times, they're mid-rounding. It was mentioned on the desk, they freeze up, it falters. An early pick. Again, the smokes are gone. How do you push this? You have to dedicate to C.
You've got to rush it down, and you've got to kill GMT. You've got to do it now. Dante can't. That may be too much wasted, but Adverso is deep. Adverso is good. 2v2. And All Knights just might have clinched this. Adverso with the ultimate, but can't use it. They have to fight instead. Sim, what a peek. What a slide to save TSM in this defense and take us to OT2.
Another
Switching
defensive
sides.
round. C-side seemingly
Overtime.
the place, the weak spot for both of these teams is anything but. Everyone's prepping now for the fast retake. Even without Cypher utility from stall against the Neon, they know to expect the backside slide and then go for the early trade. And Verso has been the real difference maker here. All Knights, a 3K last round was not enough to bring home the attack. We reset once again. Odin investment once more from 7 has yet to find much impact in this match. It could be this time though. And TSM taking it so slowly. They're the team I'm expecting to go default, play for picks, and play this so much more slowly. That's where their confidence shines. An Owl drone used up already by Adverso finds nothing. There's a smoke in the way. Double tripwires are set up purposefully to be smoked off to get an easy pick if possible, and Dante's ready to respond against the B main control. The TSM's decision making, they're just trying to find something. Any sort of information to give an advantage to push in. But when they find out there's only one defender on A, that must be the way they go.
They've got to just dive it. And so the responsibility falls on the IGL once more. Adverso, the most experienced player on All Knights, one who has been to champions, fighting for the chance to even play for it again.
No call to rotate.
He's not going to stick around on Garage either, or Sewer, excuse me. TSM, make the call and make the push. It'll be an A retake. Adverso is already ready with the shock darts for the early damage. 7's going to stick it. Good position to avoid both of those bolts. He is still full.
Sim hiding in hell. No info given just yet. Very careful, calculated approach to one of the hardest retake fights in the game.
Dante steps out, he's got to mix it up, and he will. Enough space for AK to get in, and that should be all she wrote from there. A flurry of kills, but Sim is still standing, and it comes down to the 1v1. What a slide! Sim making a case to be one of the best Neons, nay, the best duelist in this tournament. He has come up time and time again, and he might have just done it the most for TSM this map.
The path for victory is clear. The attacking overtime round was found. Now all it takes is the defense. You can only hope you don't get the overtime special where the sides suddenly flip and nobody can win a defense round. But playing it so slow, finding that tactical release in the A site, and the fact that All Knights had played that retake so cautiously, it goes against everything they've done so far in this tournament, where they bombastically go for these opening picks. Yeah, attack pause is necessary. TSM understand what gift they've been given. An attacking round when they could only achieve 2 themselves on their own attacking half. And it looked like a blowout beginning to this map. The first one still of this series. They cannot squander this defense. It has to be played perfectly.
Their singular chance this map to turn around All Knights' pick going into Abyss, which again, still a gigantic question mark over that for both of these teams, would be monumental.
This is for their Ascension life. This round could determine not only if they go further into Ascension, but if they have a chance to make it into VCT.
It starts with Dante and Sim, feeding with dashes. To insert Sivando, but the cam will catch and Sim will strike! The Viper collects! Another first blood, and another disadvantage for an AK that is starting to struggle.
No smokes. For B-site attack, how do you cover the connectors? You can't poise the perfect angle.
It's gotta be such a huge opening into at least one doorway. Dante has got to make so much space. Stall for so long, and all it takes is one blind to shut it down. TSM, the stack converges. AK do have the firepower to fight on one end, but it creates still a 2v3, still one man down. And so it's time to move house. Where, oh where do you head if you're All Knights? TSM could be bloody anywhere.
That's right. Adverso so close to their ult. Nico's gonna go for the plant backside control, not fighting for Garden. Up close and personal. 2 smokes, GMD available, and 7 has recon. Maximum info.
Standing ahead. Expand in this recon bolt. We'll show just the one. A potential sell, so Nika Machine can open up with his fault line a little bit easier. Easy stun, but Inverso can't complete. The one opportunity gone, and Nika Machine only good for the one. TSM, the underdogs, will underdog and receive the opening map in this series to potentially save their Ascension chances.
Defenders
What a comeback. A beginning, only gathering 2 rounds that first half and slamming away afterwards. What a statement from TSM to start off this series. A map that they've struggled so much in Ascension. The practice pays off, the adaptations, the individuality, and their strategic making evolved already so far this tournament.
All Knights
It's anybody's game.
They could not be unabashedly themselves on their attacking half. They could not meet the speed that they are used to. They could not meet the enabling that they are used to. And it was because TSM were either early to the fight or had enough to come in on the post plant. Either way, AK could not meet those standards just enough times. What an opening to this match, and yet again, all of Ascension has been thrust into disarray.
That's right, it's anybody's game still, and we have an amazing map after this one. And if you thought Haven was great, you haven't seen anything yet. Stay tuned with us as we go to a small break. We'll be back in a little bit with map number 2.